Hello, welcome back to the channel. Thank you for joining me in another of my wonderful interviews. She's back, ladies and gentlemen. TW. You know who I'm talking about. TW, that woman who stood up in front of the Glastonbury Town Council and said, "Oi, you're not paying attention. You don't know what's going on. Have you not worked it out yet? There's a one world government and they're coming for you. And all this nonsense that you're doing is all in their favour. Wake up." That woman, she's here. Sandy Adams. Sandy, welcome back to the show.
Oh, thank you, Richard. It's really sweet to have you have me on the show. Thank
Well, I hate to call you that woman because it's
yeah.
such a horrible term, but I think you said to me that that's how people are referring to you because you have become a bit of an icon.
Ooh,
And whilst people don't know your name necessarily, they know that viral video that went out. When was that now?
it was March. It was March the 14th of this year. Yeah.
Gosh, that seems so long
It
ago
does,
now.
doesn't it? Yeah. March.
And there you were. You appeared in front for, and you weren't even supposed to be there, if I got this right.
No,
And
no. I've sort of, had all sorts of discussions with my town council for 10 years, and I'd kind of given up really, which I shouldn't have done. And then somebody called me and said, "Oh, look, there's a town council meeting, and we want to talk about 15-minute cities, and I can't be there, so could you go?" And I went, "Oh," and it was raining and it was cold, and I thought, well, and I toddled down there thinking, "Oh, don't want to do this." And
mm,
it ended up with someone else actually talking about the 15 minutes. Somebody did turn up. One of my friends turned up, and she went before me. And then it was my turn, and she'd said everything I was going to say about 15-minute cities. And I knew that Glastonbury wasn't going to be a 15-minute city anyway because it's too small, but it could be an LTN. So they'd ordered all these great big planters. So I just literally spouted off 16 years of frustration, really. And it was quite funny. It
but
was quite
16
fun.
years of frustration, not with the Glastonbury people themselves, but with the research that you've
With the
been doing.
research, and for 10 years ago I did speak to the mayor and tried to explain Agenda 21, which it wasn't even Agenda 2030. And he was very dismissive and said I was a conspiracy theorist, and I didn't really have much more to say to him. So I was a bit fed up with them, to be honest. And since then, I'd had sort of done lots of events in the town about climate. This was prior to lockdown,
Right.
about climate change being the way the driver of Agenda 21 and the control grid. And they all hated me anyway, so I didn't really have much to say to them because there's a lot of them and there's just me. And then somehow during lockdown a lot more of the town woke up, and that's what they're annoyed about now, is because now people are listening to our side of things and not and sort of questioning the whole net zero, the climate emergency and all that, and they're getting very frustrated. Yeah. So
Well, it's good to have a council frustrated for a
yes.
change. Now, you're doing a talk, and we're going to talk a bit about that. But let me just put the graphic up that we've got here. The net zero, the final frontier. Could you just give us a quick rendition of what this is all about on November the 11th? So people haven't got long.
No,
Um,
not long. It's only another week.
mm,
Well, it really is. It's on the back of the net zero talk that I did in Glastonbury, and that was on the 7th of July, which actually had a lot of support, and it was really questioning net zero, questioning the council. I actually got the council along to ours in Glastonbury, but the Stroud group have just literally decided to do a talk on really what's going on in the world. And they've got Aman Jabi speaking about the all the AI that and the kind of the stuff like the LED lamp posts, the 5G, and particularly what's going on in our supermarkets and the data harvesting and all that sort of thing. And then there's Matt Landman speaking about chemtrails. He did a very good film called Frankenskies. And then there's myself, and I'm going to be doing a different talk, and it's going to be focusing more on the way that we are being targeted as human beings. And so that's going to be a bit of a different talk. And I feel that the audience that are coming to this will be able to cope with that instead of It's going to be quite hard hitting, but
Mm.
none of us really want to hear the hard hitting stuff. But we are at war here at the moment, and I've got grandchildren, I've got children, and it's something that you don't really want to look at. But as Sun Tzu said, you have to know your enemy in order to fight this. And we need more people on board. We have to really hit them with the truth. And that's kind of what it's going to be like. It's going to be a bit hard hitting. Yeah.
Well, I will remind the audience at the end of that event so they can book their tickets and come along.
Yeah. Oh,
But
James Delingpole is going to be there. He's going to be speaking about, well, he's written, he was really one of the first on the whole climate thing. He wrote Watermelons and I think Ecofascism and a couple of other books. And he's going to be speaking about the climate lie, which he's very, very well versed on. So that should be good. Yeah.
Ah, brilliant. So, meanwhile, as you were travelling one day on a train, there was this open laptop, and somebody had abandoned it and gone off into the woods to sort of commit hairy-carey. And you happened to notice by the screen this little document that was there. This may not be the actual truth, but you did stumble across something from an outfit called the CLCC, which I've written down here, the Society of Local Councils and Clerks. And if I've got this right, this is a document that is there to indoctrinate more of this climate nonsense to staff of councillors. Is that right?
That's exactly right. And this document, as you say, abandoned on a train, came into my hands, and I was absolutely horrified, actually, because the Society for Local Council Clerks is it has all sorts of it's funded. It does actually say where the funding's coming up from, but at the end of the day, we are funding this, the taxpayer mainly, and this is something we haven't asked for, and they've spent a lot of money, obviously, putting this together, and it is. If anybody understands what common purpose is, it's very similar to common purpose, because it is a program. It's a 2-day course that the town clerks are pushing out. Now, town clerks years ago were kind of pillars of the community that took the minutes and did the admin and all that sort of thing. And I know they had a bit of power, but now they are highly qualified in the agenda. And we've now got one in Glastonbury, and he's very, very well versed in climate literacy. And this climate literacy document is being pushed out by highly qualified town clerks now to the town council, who then have to do a 2-day course in climate literacy. And it's all the stuff that we know is IPCC, the whole thing. And actually, the second day is quite hard hitting, and I'll go into that. So they do this 2-day course, and it's online. So you have tea breaks, but you can't talk to anyone. You can't interact with anyone about it.
So you can't sort of say, what do you think about that? Does this make sense? I want to ask, somebody else. You can't do that. That's weird, isn't it?
Can't do that. You go for designated tea breaks. You can put something in the chat box, but that's very difficult. It's very clunky, isn't it? Having a discussion in a chat box, it doesn't work. And so what they do is they have to do 2 days of this training. And take in a massive amount of propaganda to do with climate. But they also have filtered in an awful lot of other stuff, about how to meet your carbon zero targets. And, I was absolutely shocked, on day 2, they go into, have one less child. Excuse me.
Have one less child.
One less child. And this is coming through. I mean, it's got this sliding scale. I don't know whether I did send you a screenshot of the sliding scale of how to reduce your carbon footprint. And the last one is a woman pushing a pram, a little diagram on the graph, and it says have one less child. Well, at the moment, women aren't having children. So that means no children, doesn't it, really?
Yes.
Because women are leaving it so late because they can't, they haven't got time or the money to have a child. And so it was, I think it's on the second day. Anyway.
So this, I'm just looking at the thing that you sent me, which you found on a train, and mysteriously
it is there. Pretty awful, because they go into all the IPCC sort of science, the skewed science, if you like, of all the stuff. And what the idea is then is that you pass it on. You then hold maybe citizens' assemblies, and you pass it on to your community, and it's a way of indoctrinating your community. And this is coming from central government. It's got all these, sort of, yeah, these little diagrams about how,
Look at that, yeah.
about diet as well. It's got the carbon diet, what you should and shouldn't be eating. And
Yeah, who has significantly reduced the amount of meat and dairy in their diet,
yeah,
which has got no,
yeah,
who has switched here to a green energy supplier?
yeah.
It's outrageous.
And it goes on, and it's a really big course. Module 1, module 2, module 3.
Blimey.
It just goes on and on.
Oh, yeah, module 6.
Yeah.
There
Then
you
you
are.
have a
There's your,
coffee break
you
when
can
you
have a
can't
nice
talk
cup
to
of
anyone.
coffee. No, that's right. Here we are. What has caused climate to change? And no doubt it's us.
Yeah.
The greenhouse effect. Oh, here we go. The greenhouse and all the molecules.
That's gas.
So, bit of bullshit, baffling brains again. Activity. What activity releases greenhouse? Oh, yes, anything. Livestock. Here we go. Deforestation, fertilizers, gas, coal, aerosols, oil,
Breathing.
breathing, yeah, farting. How is climate changing? And then we get the old.
And then you get the Michael Mann, probably the graphs, the hockey stick graph. Yeah.
So level of CO2 over the past 8,000 years. I imagine the councillors were out there with their clipboard, of course, on the streets 800,000 years, I should say, ago, and just making measurements, with a thermometer or whatever it is.
Yeah.
And then we get all of this nonsense here, the amount of CO2. Not once are they mentioning in any of this that the CO2 is actually good for plants.
No.
It's
No.
it's actually good for us. We need to have a certain level of CO2 to get the oxygen into the blood and what have you. None of that is, I guess,
None of
mentioned
it.
in
The
all
fact
of this.
that it is the gas of life, and what it really means is, zero CO2 is zero you. Because
Yeah.
anything biological needs CO2, and nobody in their world is questioning this. All these people are going on this carbon literacy training, and they're councillors. They've been given a level of responsibility to make decisions on our behalf, it's supposed to be a democratic process, and they're rolling out all this stuff that we don't agree with, and we're paying for it.
Yes.
And so and we're not even allowed to know that they're doing it. They have to sign an agreement that they won't share it with anyone.
Oh,
That's
right. Right. Oh, okay. So, I mean, in a what you might call a democratic society, or a level playing field, let's say, in which you have a bunch of people who they've got an agenda, or they've got an idea, or they've got a plan. You would think that they would go to the people of that town and say to them, look, this is what we believe. We believe there's problem with the world, and it's warming up, and there's these dangers. So let us lay out this whole plan. You, the people of this town or village or this city or whatever, come together and debate it. And put forward your ideas. Do we need that? Is that a good idea? So that those people who object can say, well, we object with that, and those people who say, oh, actually, I'm on your side. I do agree with it. But everybody could put in their 10 pence worth, but no, in this so-called unlevel playing field, from what you've just said, is they're sneaking in the back door of the council and saying, all right, everyone, have a look at this. This is dreadful. You learn this and tell everybody else, and that's how it's going to be.
Yeah. It's forcing it on the people in a very I think a very devious, rather underhand way, saying, look, this is the science. You can't argue it. It's
fixed, isn't it? It's fixed.
Yeah, this is it. You've got to accept this. This is how life is. And the thing is that in Glastonbury, after the 14th of March thing, when it went viral, I had to follow that up. So we did have what we called the Great Net Zero Debate in Glastonbury, because for 4 months we tried to get our council to engage in a debate about net zero, to have a proper, open debate. They said, oh, we can offer you a citizens' assembly. Well, that's a very different structure, because I know that citizens' assemblies, they have tables with facilitators, and they always try and bring you to a sort of predetermined outcome.
Right.
And we didn't want a citizens' assembly. That is a very almost XR model of
Yes.
how you get a consensus. And that's what they wanted to force us into. So we said, no, we just want a debate, a proper debate. We just want the town hall and a proper debate. And they could have given us the town hall, because they give the town hall to themselves for family parties and what have you. And this is a community.
Oh, hello. I think we've frozen. Someone put another 10 pence in the meter. Sorry, Sandy, we just froze there. I just had to put another 10p in the meter. I do apologise about that.
Okay.
But yes, so you were saying they take the town hall for themselves.
Yeah.
But they wouldn't give it to you for a town meeting of the people. I mean, what is the matter with these people?
Exactly. And then they told us we had to have security, because they said that they thought that the people couldn't be trusted not to, turn up with their pitchforks, I suppose. I don't know. So we ended up paying.
Well, that's their affair if they want to turn up with pitchforks. They're the people.
Well, yeah, exactly. So anyway, we went ahead with it, and we gave them 4 months to prepare an argument, some sort of debate on the science, and they didn't come up with the goods. So in the end, we said, okay, it's too late now. We can offer a Q&A, and only 4 or 5 of them turned up. And they didn't debate it at all. A couple of people had questions on the Q&A, but they lost their opportunity. And then they whinged afterwards. Oh, it's not a proper debate. Well, what can you do? I don't know. What can you do? But we did have climate scientists who are IPCC, ex-United Nations, who were able to argue the science. And one of them is a great guy called Peter Taylor, who wrote a book called Chill in the early 2000s. And he was completely, he was absolutely sidelined from any scientific body, because he wrote that book. And he then, he's now a shaman, actually. He's a most amazing man, but he's still, a very clever climate scientist. He's got 2 Oxford degrees, and he did work for the UN as a consultant and the IPCC. But he left because he knew that it was all wrong. And they, the town council, a couple of the councillors came up and said, thank you, I've learned a lot tonight, but nothing has been done really. So yeah, we did what
it's interesting. I mean, it's interesting that they learned a lot, as you say, because clearly the town council of Glastonbury are not climate scientists themselves.
No.
And nobody, it seems to me, has proved that there's actual warming, because there's huge debate on both sides. So that the science isn't fixed. Otherwise, if it was fixed, nobody debates that when you drop an apple, it falls to the ground and gravity, that works. That's pretty much fixed. Maybe if you go into a spaceship, it changes. But on Earth, wherever you are, drop an apple, it'll fall to the ground. So you can say that's fixed. Because scientists are debating this thing, and a lot of it is propaganda, as we know, it can't be fixed. And what authority does the town hall councillors, who are there to sort of make sure the fences are upright and that people are not parking on double yellow lines, or the planning permission is all that sort of parochial councils, what have they got to do with anything to do with climate and forcing these ideas on? Because they're just not qualified.
No.
And surely when somebody comes in with this bunch of rubbish, let's just have another look at this outrageous crap, this stuff, leading to more, all of this, and nobody seems to be questioning it. That's what is very odd in the council, because presumably it's costing people to have things done, or if not costing them, it's being detrimental to them.
There's that man.
Oh, yeah, that's a strange-looking bloke, isn't he? What's he got to do with any of it?
That's Attenborough, isn't it?
David Attenborough, yeah. Pathways to the future. I mean, scary Scary
Yes,
stuff.
yes, all of that is it. And I tell you what, day two gets even more sinister, to be honest.
Does it? Shall we
Um,
find? I'll see
find
if I
day
can
two.
get day two up on
Day
the screen.
day two.
Day two of the frightening
Because
thing
it
called.
then gets very, very hard hitting, where they're saying, right, you've had this training, it's your obligation now
Wrong one.
to push this out into your community, and ways that you can do that, and how you target certain groups. And they've identified some very interesting groups of people that they can target. And I find the whole thing so sinister. I mean, it really is not good.
Right, here we go. Day two. Let's have a look. Get it nice and square on the screen. And it's they call this, a qualification.
Yes, yes.
That is, So then that sort of legitimizes it, doesn't it?
Yeah,
It's like your
yeah,
city and guilds in the old days.
yeah.
Carbon literacy, parish council, blah, blah, blah. So here we go. Welcome back. Bit of housekeeping. This is where the exits are. And please don't breathe out because you'll be putting CO2 into the thing. Module 3, bit of funding things. It's George Soros and his mates at the WEF and all those, probably. How
Absolutely.
do we fund it? Oh, look, they've got plants here. And they're sort of going, that's how big your plants will be when we get rid of all the CO. That'll be the size of a tree because it won't be able to grow.
Yes, it'll be a bonsai, won't it?
It'll be bonsai. Oh, golly, what's this Salix then? What's that all about?
Oh God, I can't remember what that bit is. What's
So much, yeah. Owned and funded by the government, blah, blah. Grant funding. And they love to use all that sort of, the irony is they're using the
yeah.
symbology of trees and things, which of course cutting carbon will actually reduce them. So building people to bulk purchase. Look at these ugly houses.
You see, this is all wrapped up with stakeholder capitalism. You see, there's it's being underpinned by stakeholder capitalist organizations, and it's all about money. The whole thing is about money, isn't it?
And this is where it becomes, to me, quite sinister because they put this business, it's down to you, your carbon footprint, so that you're thinking about how responsible you've got to be. I must put another log on the fire. Actually, I just thought about that. I wish it was cold. Actually, that would be even better. And here we go. Look at this for food. Presumably this is what you
for food. Yeah.
Yeah, you can't eat any of this pork, eggs. What does that say? Tofu. Well, you can keep your tofu. Lamb, chicken, beef, fish farmed, and pulses. I mean, these days you wouldn't want to eat fish from the sea because it's so polluted. You're probably healthier having farmed fish.
It depends what they feed them on.
Well, there is that. Gas. Anyway, so we go on to this return. So now it comes more personal about your travelling.
Yes.
Because isn't it the thing you can only do 1 or 2 flights a year in the future? In fact, they're going to get rid of airplanes.
By 2029, none whatsoever.
This is yeah.
Yeah.
Look at this.
So, oh yes, that's another one. Yeah, carbon footprint of travel. So in the red zone, obviously, is the flying, and you've got to have an electric car, and you've got to go on your bicycle, and even in the rain and what have you. Yeah.
But it is madness, isn't it?
Yeah.
It is. Here we go.
Oh, this is
Energy
your
at home.
house. Yes. You've got your electric car,
Switch
you've got
it
your
off.
your photovoltaic panels on your roof that might burst into flames. You never know. You've got everything, recycling,
LED lights.
LED lights, very horrible, resource consumption. So this is all about your EPC. You see, this is how they will slam another tax on you by your energy performance certificate in your home. You see. Yeah.
But that we'll all be required to have.
We are required to have them now, but they're not enforcing that you bring everything up to standard, but they will be asking people to retrofit their homes at their own expense, and this is going to impoverish a lot of people, especially me that lives in a really old house. Now this is the one, I think, is this the one, your choice? Oh, this is the one where it says, I don't know if you can zoom into that, but this is one that says have one less child. Zoom in and then move it across. There, you see, there's a little pram there. And
Oh,
underneath it
hang on.
says,
Oh,
have
I've
one
lost
less
the bloody thing.
child. Yeah,
Oh, here.
yeah. Where the little pram is.
Oh, yes. You can't quite see it, but it does say. Yeah, it does say have one less child.
And this
So
is how,
if you've got two children, just throw one out the window.
throw one out the window. Yeah.
Yeah, or off a
And it
cliff.
is, I mean, this is literally straight out of to me, the Chinese Communist Party, playbook, if you like. It's a one-child policy. That's what they're trying to push. Yeah.
They have a little break there whilst you think about the ways that you can reduce your children. Maybe take them for a booster. That's always been
Yeah,
a
that's
very
quite an option,
successful
isn't it?
way of doing it. Emissions under influence. What are your emissions? Emissions, transport, energy, buildings, land use, waste. All the things that have actually helped us. I mean, this is the sort of thing. Those things that have got us to where we are. They're just everything is under attack, isn't it?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And here we go. This will be your 15-minute city, all wrapped up, and that's the extent of where you can go in the future. Look at that. It's ugly. Look at that. That is local planning. If that's horrible. It's like a spider's web.
It does look like a spider web, doesn't it? It's horrible.
Take action in your local area. Yeah, the action is get rid of your council.
Yeah, exactly. And the journey to an SOS, a pathway. Now this is interesting. Organize a project around your key areas, and it's more or less saying, giving people this roadmap to push it out into their own community. And they're given tasks to do so. They're being told you've got to push it out, and targeting certain groups. It's just unbelievable.
Date. This is carrying on. This must be after lunch. Reduce your footprint. Yeah, more of community engagement.
Community engagement. This is quite interesting. Make it about local issues. Don't do it alone. Don't wait for everyone to be on board. Find your angle. Turn action into engagement.
Plug something in.
And build a
yeah.
future. Yeah.
Turn it into action. Activity, your best idea, blah blah. What else have we got? More cups of coffee. Module. I mean, as you're right, it just goes on, doesn't it? It goes on and on.
I think this is the last one: action planning and levers of influence. So this is how you have to influence people, because this is all psychological, manipulation.
Oh yeah, the levers. Here we go. So what are they saying on this? Ensure your council's activities are net zero in your own building, your own staff, council. So the council has to sort of show that.
Yeah, our council they've all done this training, and so they have actually done that. They've got single-use plastics. They're going to put photovoltaics on the town hall, and they've done they've fulfilled that little bit. But the thing now is to push it out into the community, and they might do that via community assemblies where they can literally Delphi technique everyone into.
Oh, here we go. Look, they've got them round the table.
Well, exactly, it's Delphi technique. We know that it's well known, and how they've done it in Frome.
Why is your action pledge? Oh, so what are they getting people to pledge?
Yeah, they're getting.
It's like taking an oath.
Yeah.
I will obey.
So the councillors take a pledge to push this out. I mean, it's unbelievable.
Gosh, I mean,
Yeah, this is coming to a town near you. Just where?
Coming to it. Is that what it just said?
No, it doesn't.
Oh, that's
kind of what they're saying, because they're pushing this out in every town council in the UK. So it's coming to your town council, and just where,
Pick one action you can implement on your own.
Yeah.
And then pick one action you can implement with your colleagues and complete that template. My goodness, 5-minute break, and in the end, the secret to talking about climate change. Yeah. Oh yeah. Why is it important to be able to talk about it? Communicating to a broad audience. We have in my town, we have a climate change, I don't know what you would call it. It's an empty shop, and they've taken it over for Climate Action Group. That's what it's called. And so you go, and I went in there, just, they didn't know who I was. Fortunately, they didn't watch my videos. So I went in there, and I just thought it was a wet, miserable day. So I went in and I sat down, and this chap came over and says, all right. And I said, I was just a bit worried about these, I've heard of these 15-minute cities. And he said, oh, yes. what's your worry about a 15-minute city? And I said, well, where we live here in Worthing by the sea, it's pretty much a 15-minute city anyway, isn't it? I mean, everything's here. I don't know what the thing is. It's just that if you were to limit my ability to travel from one end of the town, rather, from one end of the town to the other, that would be a little bit, that would be, what's the word I'm looking for? Not menacing. Well, it would be menacing, but a bit. I can't think of the term where you limit my freedom. And he was going, yes, that's true, but don't you think it would be good, for the planet if you weren't travelling quite so much? And you can tell they've all been trained in this very softly approach of going, yeah, I see your point of view, but look at it from the other perspective. And you go, and so I then sort of very carefully was saying things like, yeah, I get your. I was doing it back to there. I was going, yeah, no, I get your point. That's true. If the planet is heating up, then it makes. And he's nodding away, going, oh, we've got him there. We've got him now. And I'm going, but what if the planet isn't heating up? What if they're telling us isn't true? Yeah. Oh, well, no, scientists have proved now. They really have. What was your name again? Mr. Vobes. Yes, they really have proved this. And I said, but I don't think the IPC have actually. I don't think they actually say that in so many words. I think that's only in the summary they've put for the bullet points for politicians. I don't think that's actually in the report. Oh, no, I think you'll find. I think you'll find. And in the end, you realise they've just been brainwashed and believe all this nonsense as everybody else.
Exactly. Yeah.
And it's very sad.
It is very sad. I mean, the thing is that people just need to be aware that this is going to be pushed out into their community, and to question it, and don't be fooled into a citizens' assembly where they can actually put facilitators on tables and push this through as a consensus. Like everyone in our community agrees that we have to do this, because that's what they want. They want us to get on board with it, and the only way they can do it is by means of I think it's a really, really dark way of doing it, because they're not telling people the full story. They're saying, target groups of certain individuals that will be able to push this out, because they were saying, target vulnerable groups in your area, like youth groups and elderly groups. I mean, I think it's terrible. It really is. Yeah.
And of course they're using all of the. I mean, when you talk about the youth, they're targeting them using these dreadful phones and all the sort of adverts, and in the games and in the television program and in the videos, all the sort of the shills out there who are passing on the message and being all eco and trendy and friendly and all of that. But really, the what you don't see is that all of this, that they're being brainwashed again in the more modern and so that they go, well, of course you've got to save the planet. Of course it's heating up. How dare you? And all of this crap. And nobody is being taught anymore to question. And they go, well, how do you know that's the case? Who's told you? Where's the evidence? Show me. These, instead of just pushing this out, like in a legal situation, if somebody's got a claim, it's for them to prove it, not to just sort of go, oh, it's a thing. By the way, it's a thing, and also get a free pizza if you help here.
Yeah, I'm sorry. They did force the climate emergency. They just declared it. I mean, there's been no due process about that at all. And I think that's why it's great that you've got people in Colchester and Thetford and all the other and maybe Oxford. Yeah, Oxford. I think they're doing a big job. But the whole thing is challenging that ideology, because it's almost as though people are just accepting it. And once you've done your research and you've realized that actually it's based on a very flimsy set of if you like, scientific data that is the IPCC have pushed out, and most of the IPCC are basically in the employ of the United Nations, and they're push out anything that they're paid to push out. That's the problem. That was the
And
problem. We're always with the IPCC. And actually, we had ClimateGate where, there was a manipulation going on and all the emails were revealed. So we know that it's been manipulated. How can we hide the decline? That's what they said.
yeah.
So yeah, it's all a big psychological operation on the human race. And we have to really fight this and be aware that we're being lied to. Yeah.
Yes, and it is that slowly catch the monkey
Yeah.
scenario where it's incremental so that you almost don't know it's happening.
Yeah.
And then before you know it, oh, that road's closed, it's now cycle lane, all that bit's been shut down. Oh, we've got these LED lights, we've got these 5G towers, we've got, we're all being good citizens
Yeah.
and we're obeying like drones. Those who must be obeyed, and people who question things have just silently been shoved off. Oh, excuse me, there's some people with heavy boots and rather nasty looking faces. Oh, you want me to come with you now? Oh, okay. So there's these people here, they just want to lock me up for 20 years because I've been a bad... Yeah, I'll be there in a minute. I've just got a bit more truth talking to do. Is that all right? No. Okay, fair enough. You're doing a talk. We've got to laugh at these. I mean, I know it's a very serious thing, but it's very easy, I think, to get very depressed and then see the enormity of everything and go, well, there's nothing we can do. What's the point? And that's another area, the apathy, where you go, but they've, even if people just believe what you're saying, it's the sense of, well, how are we, little old me? How am I going to do it all on my own? I'm not an army, am I? I'm just a little person. And they don't realise that actually it's in those numbers. Lots of little people start to be a lot bigger people, and the bigger people can say, no, actually, politely, humbly, we don't want it. We just calmly resist. We don't want this. Thank you very much. Very nice of you to care for us in that way and spend all that money on those very lovely presentations. But as it's all rubbish, we're not interested. Cheerio, bye-bye. And, more of that needs to be... Because people get very fearful very quickly, don't they?
We do. And we have to find within us our own personal power. And, it's been, for anybody who's been doing the work that, we've all been doing, it is almost like a spiritual journey, because we're all, I must admit, sometimes I don't want to, I have the duvet over my head in the morning. I think, oh no, it's so awful. I don't really want to face it all. But you do, because you know that if you don't, then they will win. And
Yes.
I think, nobody wants to hear the bad news. And I get a lot of slating, because there's a Love and Light Brigade that say, oh, if you think about it and you talk about it, then you're manifesting it. Well, no, it's manifested already. They are manifesting it. We have to call it out. And people say I'm unspiritual because I'm talking about it. No, I'm spiritual because I am talking about it. And it's like literally putting the armor of God on and going out there and being a warrior. And that's what we all have to do if we can. I mean, and quite honestly, who am I? I'm just a woman who just did some research, and I started talking about it, and I put my head above the parapet way too early. Had I known what they do now to people that do put their head above the parapet, I may have thought about it, but I didn't, and now it's too late, and it's fine. I'm just going to go hell for leather until I drop, basically, because it's either them or us, and I'm not going to give up. But
You say, who are you? You are that
woman.
woman. You are TW. That woman who is, fighting the good fight with the armor of God. I love that. That's a great expression.
Well, that's Ephesians. If you've ever read your Bible, which I was,
I'm sorry.
I was forced to as a child, but actually, now I look at Ephesians and I think, wow, that's the most powerful piece of writing in the Bible, is put your armor of God on and go out there and you'll be fine. You're protected by and I'm not a Bible basher. I'm not great, but I do have this feeling that I don't know why. I mean, I look at what's going on and I think, oh my God, how the hell are we going to get out of this? I've got this overall feeling we're going to be okay. Do you have that?
I do.
Good.
Well, that's why I'm cheerful about it. I mean,
Cheerful
you know,
too. Good.
I do. I understand what you're saying about the spiritual people who are going, oh, you mustn't talk about it, and you almost like putting their head in the sand and not ignoring the people bashing their door down and going, but you're not here, you're really not here. Oh, sorry, you're still not here, but I'm being led away. I kind of I get that, but at the same time, I feel that I'm not going to chuck out any negative energy to help them.
Mm,
That fear that they have, and so
yeah.
wearing the armor of God, I'm going to write that down because I
Yeah.
think that is
And look
great.
up Ephesians. I can't remember but just look up Ephesians. It's in there. It's called
How
the
do you
armor.
spell that? The Ephesians?
Ephesians. Oh God, it's from
Is
Ephesus,
it
isn't it?
EPH?
EPH, yeah.
Oh, right, I came from
It's
yeah,
one,
Ephesians.
yeah. It's
I'm rubbish at spelling because I
it's
went to a
written in
comprehensive boys'
Ephesus.
school
Yeah.
in the old days. So listen, that woman,
That
you
one.
are talking. You are talking. Let's bung it up again. Here we go. Save the date, the 11th of November. Um,
The
at
convent in Stroud.
the convent. I've been there. I
You
think that's
have,
where the
haven't you?
big
Yeah,
rising was going on.
that's good.
It's a lovely venue. It's let me just say it's amazing, the convent. It's like rooms within rooms. You think the TARDIS is
Mm.
big. You wait till you get into you'll never find your way out, of course.
But it's in the
And
big chapel bit. We've actually cleaned up the chapel to do well, they have, bless them, I haven't. Got rid of the pigeon poo, and there's little minions, bless them, cleaning it all up for this event. And it'll be beautiful. It holds about, I think, 200 people. So we're hoping to sell lots of tickets. So do come along and
I love the fact you've cleaned out in an old convent with all that pigeon poo. What
pigeon
did they
poo.
do? What did
Yeah.
they get up to in the old convent days?
Oh, goodness knows. But
They were all
somehow
pigeon fanciers, weren't they? Oh, look, I've got a pigeon. Let's let him in.
no, the
Oh,
pigeon. It had got broken stained glass windows, and the pigeons got in. You see, and
oh, see.
it became a mess. But they've cleaned it all up, and it's going to be stunning. And there's a bar, and there's food, and it's a whole day event. It's going to be absolutely amazing. Yeah,
And you've got these top-notch speakers.
not much
Here
speaking.
we go. All
And
again, Saturday the 11th, from 11 till 8 p.m. Is that what
yes,
it says?
and
That's a long old time, isn't it?
yeah, and Mark Sharman will be there from Oracle Film. Safe and Effective Man. He's going to be there.
Excuse
Oracle
me.
Films will be filming it. And yeah, I've got new material I'm coming out with, and I think it's going to be a really interesting day for people to come along and just and not be in fear. And that's the whole thing, is that we've got to just literally, yeah, put the armor of God on and smile.
Put the armor of God. Now I'm supposed to be promoting something that I'm in. Let me just say,
Oh,
on that same date, by the way, which does conflict with it, the 11th of November, I would dearly have liked to have come myself, but I'm in Liverpool on the other end of the country,
lovely.
for the Great Resist with Liz Phillips and
Oh,
her speakers.
fantastic.
So if you're either way. If you can't make it all the way down to Stroud, you could make it to Liverpool. But if you can't make it to Liverpool, you could make it to Stroud and have an amazing day. And
Yeah.
I'm doing something on Hope Sussex that I'm desperately supposed to. I've just reminded myself I'm supposed to have sent. Hang on, I'm going to have to do this in a very gash way. Where is the little brochure?
They're a nice lot in Hope Sussex, aren't they? Lovely
Yeah,
lot.
absolutely. It's a comedy night. Here we go. You won't be
Fantastic.
able to see this. But it's out of focus because of the nature of this. But it's a comedy. It's on the 18th of November. And if you go to my website, apparently, I wonder if they put it up. You see, I'm doing this all live on the thing. Let's just see if it's up, because I might have the poster there. www.richardvobes.com. Fantastic website, by the way, run by the Black Cat, whatever they're called, Black Cat Computers. And on the events page, yes, let me just flash that up on the screen so people can see it. So I may as well promote that at the same time. There we go. I'm at this comedy. Will that click into anything? There we go.
There you go.
With David Edelman and Philip Zimmerman on the 18th of November at Hope Sussex in Sussex. The Freedom Network presents.
Fabulous.
So so lots of things going on, in the winter time or the
Yeah, we've
autumn
got to
time.
keep smiling. Comedy's good.
Talking truth and causing chaos and mayhem. So
Lovely.
there you go. Lots of things to go and look at and keep your vibrations high, which is essential in these dreadful days. Sandy, thank you for coming and exposing. I mean, what was the chances of that woman getting onto that carriage and finding that laptop with that bit of information? Oh, it's
There we are.
it's you've done a brilliant job there, exposing it to the nation.
Thank you.
No,
And,
thank you.
Thank you for having me on. Bless
That's
you.
quite all right. I've got this armour of God tied
Good.
up round
Yeah,
me. There we
keep
go.
it on. You might need it. Yeah.
I think I will. So there we are, ladies and gentlemen. That's what they're doing. What was it called? Carbon literacy
Carbon literacy training. Yes.
training. It's watch out for it. If you get a whiff of it,
Yeah.
go to your
Call it
councillors.
out. Yes.
Call it out. I mean, the other thing is that we definitely need these parallel councils set up by ordinary everyday people.
Oh, we do. We do.
Instead of these people who have become a bit power mad and easily influenced by those with money and agendas. We need the alternative. I mean, we saw that in Thetford. Did you see that video in Thetford where the
Very
councillors
powerful. Yeah.
they left the room
Yeah.
because somebody spoke more than 5 minutes and they were talking about the sexualisation of children, and the councillors went, "Oh, we can't have this," and they all left. And I did say to
ship, they shouldn't.
Yeah.
They're not fit for office when they literally abandon the ship. That's outrageous, isn't it? Yeah.
I did speak to Chris, who is a councillor there, Chris Brooks. I said to him, "You lot should have just assumed the position. Should have just gone, well, they've gone. We will now be the councillors. Thank you very much. And we'll do a proper election and, get proper officers." But they've all gone. And to see their faces would have been hilarious. To say, "Well, you can't do that." Well, we've done it, mate. We live here. We live here. And we represent the people, not big one world governments like the WEF and the WHO and all of that lot. We represent real everyday, but that's what we need to see up and down the country. So there we are.
Absolutely.
That's my thought. That's my
No,
10
we
pence.
do. We need our own shadow councils. We do, to keep them in check. And if they're not doing their job, then we have,
Then we do it.
out.
Yeah.
And even if we get our pitchforks out,
Absolutely. There's nothing wrong with a good pitchfork.
nothing wrong with that.
Unless it's, they don't like it up 'em. Sandy, always good to talk to you. Do come back. Keep us updated on all that's going on.
Loop. And
Brilliant.
perfect. Thanks so much, Richard. I'll see you soon. Take care.
See you soon.
Bye.
Well, there we are, ladies and gentlemen. Do keep an eye out for all of that nonsense. In the meantime, I'll be back with more monologues. You know what to do on the 11th of November. Go and support Sandy in Stroud. Come and support the Great Resist in Liverpool, wherever you are. And on the 18th in Hope, Sussex. But meanwhile, I'll be back with more nonsense and fighting the good fight. Thanks to Sandy. And from Sandy and I, that woman, TW, from her and I, goodbye.
Goodbye.